I stood frozen in the center of the room. As I realized, the words being recited over the microphone were my own. Mizu's lilting voice carried my private confessions to every ear in the school. This was the letter. I had slipped into her locker just yesterday, the one in which I had poured out feelings. Each sentence from my letter was met with a ripple of laughter, or a mocking. All across the room, Mizu's blue eyes found mine. I thought I saw a flicker of regret there, but it was gone as quickly as it appeared. She finished the last line of my letter with a flourish, pressing a hand dramatically to her chest. Her entourage of friends dissolved into giggles. I mustered every ounce of dignity and started walking toward the exit. The laughter and chatter swirled around me. Can you believe he wrote that? What a loser. I almost feel bad for him. I pushed past the cafeteria doors. My hands trembled as I pressed them against the locker. How could she? The question screamed in my mind. On an endless loop. I had known Mizu for 2 years. We started as lab partners in sophomore chemistry, our friendship blossoming into something I thought was real. When we began dating last semester, I thought I'd found someone who accepted me. Nerdy quirks and all, I let myself trust her completely. And now, that trust was shattered. Suddenly, a door down the hall opened. I quickly wiped my eyes and straightened to my dismay. It was Ryan stepping out of the boys' bathroom. My childhood friend. Ryan had known about the letter. He'd encouraged me to write it in the first place. Girls love that kind of romantic stuff, he'd said with a grin last week. It was his idea that I profess my feelings in a grand gesture. I had trusted him like a brother, and in return, he stood by and let Mizu turn my deepest emotions into a joke. He took a few tentative steps toward me. My voice came out icy and sharp, surprising even me. Don't. It was only one word. Ryan stopped in his tracks. He opened his mouth, but I didn't want to hear any more. As I walked away, I realized who first, my girlfriend and my best friend, had orchestrated this humiliation together, and second, the naive version of me, who believed in them, had died in the cafeteria. Never again. Time passed away in a blur. By the time senior year started, I kept my hood up and my gaze low. As I navigated the bustling corridors, a few familiar faces noticed me and quickly looked away. Perhaps they still remembered the spectacle. With the letter that was found by me in homeroom, I slid into a seat in the back corner. From here, I could see everyone, and no one would see more of me. As the teacher droned through announcements, I scanned the room. Mizu wasn't in this class. Neither was Ryan. A small relief. I knew I'd have to face them eventually, but I wasn't keen on starting my morning with old ghost Yuto. Right, a soft voice interrupted my thoughts. Few people dared talk to me these days. I turned my head slightly to find the source. It was a girl seated one row over. Claire Thompson, one of the top students in our grade. She mostly kept to herself. He returned a curt nod. Yes. Gathering courage, she said, I heard your grade at chemistry. Mrs. Hanau is pairing people up for the term project, and I was thinking maybe we could work together. I studied her for a moment, trying to discern any hint of ulterior motive back. Then I'd happily agreed to partner up. Now I knew better. Before I could respond, Mrs. Hanau's voice rang out from the front. Listen up for this term's lab project. I'll be assigning partners when I call your name. Go sit with your partner. Fate had a twisted sense of humor. She, Claire Thompson, and Yuto Kira. Claire gave me a small, hopeful shrug, as if to say, well, that's convenient. I packed up my things and moved one seat over to share a table with Claire. She tried to make eye contact, but I busied myself aligning a pen with the edge of my notebook. Working closely with anyone was the last thing I wanted. When the teacher finished speaking, Claire turned to me. Again, maybe we could meet in the library after school to discuss our approach. I wondered if she knew about my social fallout and was reaching out of pity. I'm busy after school, I lied smoothly. We can talk about it online here. I slid my notebook toward her, where I'd written my email address. Claire nodded, quickly adding her own contact info beneath mine. If my abruptness bothered her, she didn't show it. Instead, she offered another brief smile as the bell rang. I noticed a few other students glancing our way. Perhaps they were surprised to see me interacting with someone. One face stood out in the crowd exiting class. Vanessa, queen of the senior class. Vanessa rarely acknowledged my existence before. She'd been Mizu's friend once. If she was paying attention now, it wouldn't be good over the next few weeks. Claire and I settled into a careful routine in those moments. I could nearly forget that I was supposed to be on high alert. One afternoon, we hovered over a laptop. Claire let out a triumphant laugh as our results finally showed a promising trend after many failures. Our eyes met for a moment. I felt a bond I hadn't realized how lonely I'd been in myself. Imposed exile as she slid her notebook into her bag. A folded pamphlet slipped out and fell to the floor. I glimpsed the title Axelrod College Science Scholarship Opportunity. It was a national science competition for high schoolers. Claire noticed my gaze and bit her lip. I was going to mention it. Once we had more results, the deadline is right after midterms, which aligns with our project timeline. It's an interesting idea, but we should focus on finishing the project for class first. Claire forced a smile and agreed. Claire and I polished off our class presentation flawlessly, explaining our research and demonstrating a small prototype of our eco-friendly battery. The applause we received felt genuine, and I allowed myself a moment of shared accomplishment. After class, Mrs. Hannah congratulated us. "You two make a great team. If you present like that at the symposium, you might gain the scholarship opportunity." Claire beamed, thanking her. The symposium was now directly in front of us. We needed to formally register our project by Friday. Despite Mrs. Hannah's assumption, I hadn't yet confirmed my participation. I wanted to see what Claire would do that evening. I finally accepted the truth. I wasn't ready. I drafted a short email to Claire. I wrote that due to personal issues I was considering not attending the Axelrod Symposium, but she should still present our work if she wanted. I phrased it carefully, then hit send. An hour later, her reply came. Claire's response was polite and concerned. "I'm sorry to hear you might not come. I know the past year has been hard for you. You deserve credit, so I'll keep your name on the project if possible, but if you truly can't attend, I'll represent us both and do my best. Let me know for sure by Friday." It was the right kind of response, but something felt off. And why say, if possible, about keeping my name? Maybe I was overthinking still. I compiled evidence of my contributions. Trust could be given, but never blindly again, and just as I chose to join and help Claire the next day, I heard whispers during lunch. I overheard two juniors talking at the next table in the library. "Claire Thompson is a finalist for Axelrod." "That's huge." "Yeah. I saw her name on the program list posted on their site. Looks like she's presenting solo." A cold spark ignited in my chest. My heart breaks. How could she likely using my email as justification that I might not come? She hadn't even waited for my final confirmation. Suppressing the anger rising within, I quietly logged onto a library computer and navigated to the symposium's official page. Sure enough, under the list of accepted presenters from our state, I found it Claire Thompson, East Ridge High School. My name was nowhere in sight. Claire had made her move. Now it was my turn. That evening, I emailed the school's Academic Integrity Committee, pretending I needed advice about a collaboration concern. I also wrote to the Axelrod Symposium coordinators briefly, informing them that I was the co-researcher on Claire's project and would be unable to attend, but attaching documentation of my contributions was a subtle way to flag that Claire's project wasn't a solo effort without outright accusation. Friday morning, I caught up with Claire by her locker. She looked slightly wary when she saw me. My aloofness the past 2 days must have unnerved her still. She greeted me with a practiced look of concern. "Yuto, hey. I was just about to find you. Did you decide about the symposium? I have to submit by noon." I stared at her for a moment, marveling at how composed she was. She'd already submitted days ago, yet she lied right to my face. It was an audacious performance. I'd give her that. "I've decided not to go. You should present it. Good luck." It took her a second too long to respond. "Oh, okay, if that's what you want. I promise I'll do my best to represent both of us." I nodded. "I know you will." Before I turned away, I added, "By the way, I documented all my contributions and let the symposium committee know I couldn't attend due to personal reasons, just so there's no confusion about the work we did." Claire's face paled a shade. He forced a tight smile. "Of course. That's good." The slight tremor in her voice betrayed her. I walked away, letting the weight of my implications sink in. The fallout came swiftly. By midweek, I was summoned along with Claire to a meeting with the Academic Integrity Panel. The symposium staff had forwarded my email to them, seeking clarification on whether our project was a group effort and if both contributors were being represented fairly in a small conference room. We sat at opposite sides of a long table. Claire looked nervous. I was cool. As the vice principal asked us to explain, Claire spoke first. She claimed I had decided to drop out due to personal issues, and that she never intended to claim sole credit. It was a misunderstanding with the submission process, and she was planning to acknowledge my contributions. In her presentation, I let her words hang before I replied I had considered not attending, but never agreed to be omitted entirely. The project was a joint effort from start to finish. I produced printed copies of our collaborative notes. Claire's mask cracked. I wasn't trying to cut you out. I didn't think you would actually show up. And I really need this scholarship, Yuto. My family can't afford college for me. I couldn't risk losing the chance. Her words spilled out. You seemed so distant, and after everything, I was afraid you'd back out, and I'd have nothing. So I submitted alone. I thought I could fix it later. Credit. You somehow. Her confession hung in the air. In the end, the school withdrew the project from the symposium. Entirely, they wouldn't support a presentation stuck in a disagreement about teamwork. Claire's eyes went wide, and devastated. Her chance at the scholarship evaporated. She received a formal reprimand for her conduct. We walked out of the meeting in silence. Claire stopped me just before I exited Utah. She said softly, I'm sorry truly. I wish I hadn't done it. This girl who had nearly earned my trust, only to break it for a scholarship. I found no anger. I only felt tired. I know. I replied quietly without another word. I left her standing in the dim hall. Claire's betrayal, desperate motives, had confirmed my beliefs all over again. Trusting someone, letting them in even a little, had led to pain. And though I couldn't forgive her, I understood her in a way that made pity outweigh fury. But the next day, I noticed whispers in the halls again. Fleeting glances cast in my direction. At first, I feared Claire might be spreading lies about what happened, painting me as the villain who cost her the scholarship. But when I caught a snippet of conversation, heard he basically trapped his own partner to get her punished. How messed up is that? I know, right? Vanessa said she saw him bragging about it. Vanessa said. The name dropped like a stone in my stomach. I shouldn't have been surprised. Vanessa had a talent for inserting herself into any gossip. Still, the idea that she was now turning her attention toward me. That afternoon, as I made my way to the parking lot, I found Mizu waiting by my car. We hadn't spoken face to face since the cafeteria incident. She looked different now. Her expression anxious. I considered ignoring her and walking on, but something in her stance gave me pause. She was deliberately here waiting for me. Taking a steadying breath, I approached. What do you want? Mizu flinched, but met my eyes. I need to talk to you, Yuto. Please, I said. Nothing. Silence, inviting her to continue or leave. She took a deep breath. I know I'm the last person you want to see. You have every right to hate me. I remained impassive. And Missa forged on. I heard about what happened with Claire, she said, and I started hearing other things, rumors that sound like they're coming from Vanessa. At Vanessa's name, my eyes narrowed. Missa nodded. I thought you should know. Vanessa has been asking questions about you. She's been interested ever since the Claire situation. I think she sees you as a threat now. I let out a bitter chuckle. A threat to what? Her gossip empire. Mizu glanced around nervously. To her control, her reputation. Vanessa was behind everything I did to you. She wanted to put you in your place. Because she faltered, guilt crossing her face. Because I cared about you. And that didn't fit her plans. She pressured me to choose her or be an outcast. I was weak and chose wrong. I can't undo that. But now she's fixated on you again. My chest tightened as Mizu confirmed what I had long suspected. So why are you telling me this? I asked, coldly, feeling guilty. Mizu's cheeks colored. I feel guilty every day. But this isn't about me making myself feel better. I'm worried about what Vanessa might do. Claire was a friend of hers, an academic pawn she liked, but now you've derailed Claire in her mind. That's 2 strikes you've gotten away with. She won't allow a third. It made sense in a sick way. Vanessa thrived on control and image. The incident with Mizu had been to maintain hierarchy, and my interference cost Claire that shine and made Vanessa look foolish for backing her. So what do you expect me to do with this? Warning, he asked. Go on the offensive. Hide. I'm saying be careful. Mizu urged. She has people who owe her favors. Teachers too. If she sets you up, she could make your life hell. I clenched my jaw. I didn't doubt her. Vanessa sat at the top of the school's social ecosystem. After surviving 2 betrayals and still standing, I'd caught her attention by crossing the board. Mizu stepped closer, voice pleading. I know you have no reason to trust me, but I couldn't stay silent after what I did. The least I can do is warn you. Just watch your back, okay? If someone is suddenly acting too nice, or something falls perfectly into place for you, question it. She gives you what you think you want, then pulls the rug. Her warning made my thoughts jumped to Claire's unsolicited partnership to Mrs. Hanno, conveniently volunteering us for the symposium had. Vanessa had a hand in those events. Perhaps that was paranoid likely. Claire's betrayal was her own still. It reminded me that not all traps are obvious. I studied Mizu for a long moment. Her eyes were earnest. She had been on the inside with Vanessa. Even if I couldn't forgive her, I could use what she knew. I believe you, I said quietly. Mizu looked surprised. Relief crossed her face in something like gratitude. Yuto, I truly am sorry. I know it might not mean much, but I regret it all. If I could take it back. Stop. I cut her off, my tone lacking malice. I was simply exhausted by that pain. What's done is done. We survived it. Let's leave it at that. She blinked away a tear and nodded. It was perhaps more mercy than she deserved. But I had bigger battles now. As Mizu left, I sat in my car for a moment. Mizu's warning rang in my ears. Vanessa might try a friendly approach first, and sure enough, the very next day, the queen made her move during a break between classes. I was at my locker swapping textbooks. A silky voice spoke over my shoulder, making me tense. Yuto, hi. Got a minute? I turned to find Vanessa standing there, a radiant smile on her face, as if we were old friends. She had never spoken more than a few words to me in 3 years. Yuto, I just wanted to say congratulations. Vanessa purred. I heard your chemistry project got top marks. That's amazing. And what you did calling out that plagiarist. Honestly, kind of heroic. I raised an eyebrow at the sheer audacity of her approach. She was playing the we're on the same side card. Thanks, I said flatly, turning back to my locker. Vanessa continued, I'm serious. I admire what you did. Some people might spread nasty rumors, but I don't believe them. You had every right to expose Claire. So she was aware of the rumors. She herself had seeded, and now she was disavowing them to me directly. As an ally, the layers of manipulation would be impressive if they weren't so transparent. I shut my locker and faced her fully. Did you need something? Vanessa, she gave a light laugh, straight to the point. I like that. Okay, I'm here with an invitation. We're putting together a group of student leaders to plan the winter festival. The principal asked me to coordinate it. She rolled her eyes playfully, as if it were a burden. I could really use someone with your brains and attention to detail on the team. Interested, she tilted her head, awaiting my answer. If I joined her committee, she'd have me within her sphere of control, maybe to set me up for failure or blame. Still, outright refusing might provoke more direct hostility. Sooner, I allowed a small hesitant smile. I'll think about it. It's a busy time, you know. Of course, no pressure. Just let me know in the next few days. I'd love to have you on board. It could be fun. With a wink and a wave, she glided down the hall to rejoin a cluster of friends. The queen had extended a hand, but I knew it held a dagger against every instinct. I agreed to join Vanessa's winter festival committee. She presided at the library conference table, like royalty, delegating tasks with a charming smile. I kept a low profile, speaking only when necessary. Vanessa involved me frequently. Yuto, could you draft the budget for decorations? Yuto, mind handling ticket pre-sales. Tracking each request seemed logical, leveraging my strengths. She was putting me in charge of finances at every turn. Whenever I collected money, I documented it thoroughly and copied another member on emails for a paper trail. If Vanessa intended to accuse me of mismanaging funds, she'd find no discrepancies I hadn't already accounted for a couple of weeks. Everything proceeded smoothly. I almost wondered if I was overly paranoid. Vanessa was all efficiency and pleasantness in our interactions, and nothing suspicious occurred. A week before the festival, a locked cash box sat on the table, containing the collected raffle ticket money. Yuto, could you do me a favor and drop this cash box off at the main office for safekeeping? Vanessa asked brightly. In front of everyone, I have to run to a photo shoot, and I don't want to carry it around. All eyes turned to me. It was a reasonable request on the surface. Still, my caution flared. Maybe someone from the office should pick it up. It's a lot of cash. Might be better if a staff member handles it, I suggested. Vanessa's smile faltered just a touch. Oh, the secretaries are swamped prepping report cards. It'll be fine. Just walk it over unless you don't have time. I couldn't refuse, without raising suspicion in front of everyone. If I publicly doubted her, she'd paint me as paranoid or uncooperative. So I nodded. Sure, I can take it. Playing it casual, I left the library, one of Vanessa's cronies trailing at a distance. Something was off midway. I detoured into a restroom inside. I set the cash box on the counter and pried the lid open. just enough to see bundles of cash and checks. I snapped a photo of the contents as proof, then shut it again. My heart pounded as I continued to the office. Mrs. Callahan greeted me at the front desk. "Hi, Yuto. Can I help you placing it on the counter?" Vanessa asked me to bring it for the safe. She nodded. She took the box and disappeared into the back. I let out a breath and left, walking past the library. I saw Brooke duck inside, likely to report I'd delivered the money without incident. If they had eyes on me, the trap was set. The question was, what was it? I found out the next day during third period. I was summoned via intercom to the principal's office. Inside Principal Evans' office, I was surprised to see not just him, but also Vanessa. The cash box sat on the desk open and empty. My pulse skyrocketed. Principal Evans' face was grave. "Yuto, thank you for coming. There's been an allegation of theft concerning the Winter Festival funds. Vanessa tells me you were the last person with this cash box before it was placed in the office safe. This morning the funds were found missing." I shot a look at Vanessa. She stood off to the side. "It was an excellent act." "That's correct. I handed it to Mrs. Callahan around 3:30 yesterday." I replied steadily. Principal Evans pressed his lips together. "Mrs. Callahan did put the box in the vault when she returned. The box was still there, but the contents were gone. The vault room is usually secure, but we will, of course, review security footage." Officer Martinez cleared his throat. "We'd like to ask you a few questions. Is it true you initially suggested not bringing the money to the office?" They were twisting my caution into suspicion. "I only suggested a staff member might pick it up because it was a lot of money. I still delivered it as requested." I answered. Vanessa spoke up. "Yuto, was anyone with you when you took the box? Did you see anyone on the way from anyone else?" It had sounded like trying to help find the culprit from her. I heard the subtle, "If you had an accomplice, name them now." I noticed Brooke in the hallway near the library when I left. I said, turning slightly to address Vanessa. Vanessa frowned, feigning confusion. "Brooke left before you did. She wasn't feeling well. Maybe you saw someone else." I realized the depths of her scheme. Brooke trailing me was to ensure I went to the office, but they wouldn't admit that they were establishing I was alone with the money. Principal Evans interjected at this time. "We're not accusing anyone, but we have to investigate thoroughly. Yuto, do you have any idea what could have happened to the money?" I could feel Vanessa's eyes on me. I recalled the photo on my phone, but revealing it now would only show the money was there, when I had it better to hold that card for the right moment. "I don't, sir," I said calmly. "I delivered the box intact. I never opened it." Principal Evans nodded slowly, given the seriousness. "I'm going to suspend you from the festival committee until we get to the bottom of this. It's a precaution, not a determination of guilt." I noticed Vanessa's smile ever so slightly if the camera in the office corridor showed me entering and leaving quickly. That would support my story that I only dropped it off unless she had tampered with the footage or timing. Somehow as I walked out, Vanessa caught up to me in the hallway, playing concerned friend. Once no staff were around. "This is awful," she murmured. "I can't believe someone stole that money. I know it looks bad since you were last with it, but I believe you, Yuto." Her voice was honeyed and low. I stopped and turned to her, anger simmering beneath my skin. "Do you?" I asked quietly. She met my eyes with a steady "Of course. I'm sure it was just a misunderstanding. Let's wait for the camera footage. Hopefully it shows something useful." As she walked away, the weight of what happened settled fully. If the footage was inconclusive or missing, it could be my word versus circumstantial evidence, and rumor already labeled me as someone who screwed over a partner by the final bell. Whispers were circulating. Word travels fast. The boy of the science lab, now suspected of stealing charity money. I saw it in their eyes as I left. Doubt, judgment. Vanessa's reach was vast. Even without proof, the narrative was tilting her way. That evening, I met Mizu at a quiet corner booth of a nearly empty diner on the edge of town. I had texted her after leaving the principal's office. "I need help," she replied immediately, and agreed to meet as dusk settled outside. I laid out everything. "She is doing what I told you," Mizu whispered, angry and pained. I nodded. "I have to prove she orchestrated it, but I need evidence." Mizu bit her lip. Vanessa would have needed to actually remove the money at some point. Her mother is PDA president. I wouldn't put it past them to have a spare key. Even if footage shows her, she might spin it as she discovered the empty box. But if we could catch her admitting it, an idea formed. We exchanged a glance. It was risky. "I have an idea," I said, "but I'll need you to play along and give an Oscar-worthy performance." Mizu straightened a determined light in her eyes. After what she made me do to you, I'm not afraid of her anymore, tell me what to do. Leaning in, I outlined the plan in a hushed voice. We fine-tuned details over before we parted. I looked at Mizu seriously. Thank you, I said, for doing this. You could get in trouble, or she might turn on you. Mizu gave a sad smile. I owe you, Yuto, more than you know. If I can help end this, I will. Besides, maybe this is my chance to do something right. As I walked her to her car, a pang of emotion struck me. I never expected the girl who betrayed me first would become my ally. Life was strange that way. 2 days later, the winter festival was in full swing. I moved through the crowd with purpose. The evening Mizu approached Vanessa after school, making sure a few of Vanessa's friends overheard. I watched from a distance as Mizu put on a convincing show of dismay and bitterness, tearfully telling Vanessa she felt betrayed by me all over again. I had used her and turned out to be exactly who Vanessa warned I was. Later, under the pretext of wanting to make things right, Mizu asked Vanessa if they could talk privately. Vanessa agreed. The two slipped into an empty classroom, while I hid just outside, phone set to record. Through the cracked door inside, Mizu sobbed and apologized to Vanessa for ever defying her. She praised Vanessa's cleverness. You were right about him, Ness, she said, using the old nickname. Only Vanessa's inner circle did he fool me, and I'm so ashamed I took his side. I should have stuck with you. Vanessa's voice carried of smugness and sympathy. Oh, Mizu, it's okay. You just had to learn the hard way. Yuto got what was coming to him. Mizu sniffled. Everyone saying he did it. He stole the money. Do you really think he did? Her voice trembled. A pause. Then Vanessa laughed softly. Does it matter? People believe it. By Monday, he'll be as good as gone. My grip on the phone tightened. We needed more a direct admission. But between us, Mizu pressed gently. Did you? How did you know he'd take the fall? I imagined Vanessa's cold eyes sizing up. Mizu, I held my breath. I made sure of it, Vanessa answered quietly. Yuto set himself up when he took that cash box. All it took was a little opportunity and the right timing. I've got friends in high places, you know. A suggestion here, a missing camera there. Honestly, it was too easy. Mizu gave a low gasp. You mean you took the money out? Of faint rustle. Vanessa likely thumb. Let's just say the funds are safe and sound and will mysteriously reappear once the school moves on to a new scandal. No real harm done. But Yuto, he loses everything. Consider it justice for him embarrassing you and defying me there. It was a confession and all, but name captured clearly on my phone. I signaled to Mizu with a light tap on the door. She wrapped up the conversation, thanking Vanessa for forgiving her and stepping out with reddened eyes. Later, we met briefly to listen to the recording. It was all there now at the festival. The moment had come to reveal the truth. I spotted Principal Evans near the stage. I approached him calmly. Sir, could I have a moment? It's about the money theft. He looked weary. Yuto, I appreciate you coming, but perhaps this can wait. I have proof I was framed, I said quietly, right here on my phone. His eyes widened, and he ushered me behind the stage to play it. As Vanessa's voice spilled out, his face shifted from shock to anger. When it finished, he exhaled. This is serious. It's true, I said. And you know whose voice that is? Principal Evans's jaw tightened. Yes. Vanessa, regret and resolve mingling. Come with me. We'll handle this immediately. I put a hand on his arm. Sir, if I may, it might be best to address this in front of everyone, publicly, to clear my name, the same way it was tarnished out in the open. He hesitated, then nodded. Just be ready with that recording. My heart thumped as Principal Evans climbed onto the small stage, where a band had just finished playing. He took the microphone. Excuse me, could I have everyone's attention, please? Chatter died down. I saw Vanessa near a booth, her smile faltering as she noticed me beside the principal. We have an important issue regarding the missing festival funds. Principal announced the investigation into the missing money has identified those responsible, and contrary to rumors, Yuto Kira is not at fault. He was in fact the victim of a setup. A louder stir. Vanessa's face went pale. The principal pushed me forward. My hands trembled, but I held the phone to the microphone and played the crucial part of the recording. Vanessa's voice rang out over the speakers, clear and cruel. I made sure of it. He wanted to play hero. I've got friends in high places. Yuto Kira loses everything. Gasps rippled through the crowd. All eyes turned to Vanessa. She stood, frozen lips parted in shock. Principal Evans lowered the mic, expression steely. Vanessa, come with me, please. No, this isn't. You all misunderstood. Vanessa stammered, desperately trying to regain Composure, the evidence was overwhelming. Vanessa, eyes wild with rage, walks toward me. Her hand raised sharply to strike. But before her palm reached me, Mizu stepped between us, gripping Vanessa's wrist tightly. "You don't get to hurt him again," Mizu said coldly. Then, without hesitation, she slapped Vanessa hard across the face, silencing the crowd instantly. Vanessa stumbled back, stunned, as Mizu stood firm. Finally, free, two staff members gently escorted a trembling Vanessa off the grounds toward the school building. She threw one look back at the crowd, her eyes met mine, and in them flickered fury and humiliation. I stood on the stage, feeling a strange mix of triumph and emptiness. It was done. As the crowd slowly resumed the festivities, a few people patted my shoulder or nodded in respect. I even caught sight of Claire at the back, watching with an expression that looked like a mix of admiration and regret. Mizu found me as I stepped down from the stage. Without a word, she wrapped me in a brief, fierce hug. It was the first time since everything that I let someone hold me like that. "Thank you," I murmured. She pulled back, smiling through teary eyes. "We did it. We had together in an unlikely alliance, born of betrayal and guilt. We'd done what I thought impossible, toppled Vanessa and vindicated me."